we ready? All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to be here this afternoon. We have with us, I'll start from the distant table. We have with us Dato Abdul Rashid Musa, the President of Manufacturing and Engineering for UMW Group. And we have in the middle here, Mr. Ravindran, President. Mr. Ravindran is the President of UMW Toyota Motors. And we have Encik Megat Shahrul Azmir, who's the President of Equipment Division for UMW Group. We are here to talk about leadership. And as you can see, the setup is a kopitiam setup. A setup is very familiar to all Malaysians. But I shall start with a few opening remarks about leadership in English. Then we move on, Malaysian style, into Bahasa and back and forth into English, as we normally do in a kopitiam setup. Because some of us actually have issues talking in Malay. It's not necessarily Ravindran, it could be me. According to Ravi, he even dreams in Malay. I dream in English. So back and forth between the two of us, we have issues about language. So we'll make it as easy and as relaxed as possible. Now, my name is Muhammad Sabri, and I'm a professor of leadership with the Asian School of Business. And I've been doing leadership work and consulting work for many, many years already, something which I am passionate about doing. I do a lot of research about leadership as well. We have discovered that the first list published by Fortune 500 in 1957, only about 60% of the companies on that list were still on that list 40 years later in 1997. And of those who are no longer on that list, were only not in that list, they were also no longer in, and they were also not functioning in anywhere whatsoever in the business world. So the lifespan of corporate lifespan is getting shorter even as we speak. And saya amatlah berbesar hati oleh kerana UMW Toyota has been around sejak 1917. Dilahirkan di Jalan Orchard Road di Singapura. Daripada sebuah kedai kecil, repairing motorcycles and things like that, has now become a huge global player of automotive industries and manufacturing. It cannot be because of strategy, it cannot be because of business modeling alone. That has got to do a lot to do with leadership of the organization also. Kepimpinan yang memang canggih menentukan kejayaan kita untuk masa sekarang, masa lepas dan masa yang akan datang. Ravi, boleh ya? Okay. All right. So, talking about leadership mesti berlandaskan nilai-nilai murni seseorang pemimpin. That's the essence of leadership. Saya nak mula soalan saya dengan orang yang paling jauh, Dato Rashid. Dato, tolong perjelaskan sedikitlah Dato untuk apa namanya penuntun kita pada petang yang mulia ini. Apakah nilai-nilai murni yang tak boleh tak ada pada seorang pemimpin? Pada pendapat Dato'. Silakan Dato'.
Terima kasih Prof for bagi peluang saya untuk bercakap dulu lah. Kepimpinan dalam bahasa Malaysia kan, of course encompass bigger elements, banyak benda yang besar. Tapi yang penting pada saya ialah memikul amanah. It's a responsibility, tanggungjawab. Jadi kita nak pikul amanah ni, it's impossible that we can do it alone. Macam dalam BMW pun kita ada berpuluh-puluh ribu staff, employees. So kita kena harness the best of people. So we need to work with people. Macam Jepun kata hitozukuri atau monozukuri. So kita cerita bahasa Inggeris sikit, bahasa Malaysia sikit, kita Jepun. Dia kata maknanya buat orang dulu buat barang. So we need to orang kata work with people, develop people dan work together. That's very important. And get best from the people. InsyaAllah.
Encik Ravi, apakah nilai-nilai murni seorang pemimpin? The values very crucial for a leader to have.
I think Dato has spoken very clearly. As a leader, I think our mind must be very, very open. Okay, things are changing very fast. Like you have said, 1957, the companies are not existing and all that. But I think what is important today, the younger generations are getting smarter and smarter. Okay, as a leader, we have to look at the old economy and the new economy. Okay, this is where you have to be very clear. And as a leader, you must have a very clear vision. But at the same time, you don't take 100% ownership. It must be shared among all your staff. It must be very clear. And We have to listen to the younger generation when they have some creative idea and give them the opportunity, and then you will be a very good leader. Okay? This is what I believe, and this is what we should have. Okay?
Cik Ravi, I know you're not as young as you look. Right? Talking about listening, we're talking about this before the session, ya, untuk mendengar apa yang diluahkan anak-anak kita sekarang, zaman sekarang. But we grew up in a generasi di mana apa yang diperkatakan oleh orang tua itu adalah arahan yang kita tak dapat memberi kata dua yang berlainan daripada dia orang. Ya. Do you find that as a struggle, tak? Personally? Growing up in that environment, and now our children are talking to us in a different tone. On the personal side, is that a challenge for you? And how do you manage that?
A very simple thing when you are growing up or you're coming into a new company. Simple. When we go to canteen, when your boss is sitting in front and you have finished your food, you wait until your boss finish.
Yes.
Today, you go in, the younger generations are eating, they just will walk away. So you must adapt to the change. Kita tak boleh ingat kita yang betul. Okay? We must be very fast.
Yeah.
We must be very agile. Okay? And this is what is very important to be a leader. And we can learn from our own kids. They are not like us. Listen to our dad.
Yeah.
They keep on changing. And I always believe in this new economy that is coming very fast. Every 3 years, things are moving faster and faster.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think patient, you have to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
You also must be patient.
That's
And
right.
you must be very, very focused.
Yeah.
Okay? This is what I believe, okay? The things that is happening.
Okay. Encik Megat, how about you? Any take on that?
How things are different.
Yes.
It's very different. Lain sangat sekarang.
Okay.
Example.
Yeah.
Example. My 11-year-old, I balik rumah from kerja at night, and kita dulu kalau balik, you letak tangan ke bawah and minta lalu kan, orang tua. In jest, dia joking lah clearly.
Yeah.
Bro, kan, times are different, right? So and we have to, like Ravi said, we have to adapt accordingly, right? But some values remain the same.
Yes.
And then saya terpanggil nak jawab yang soalan pertama tadi tu. Nilai murni leadership yang paling penting. Without a doubt, right? I read this everywhere and I hear about it all the time. Integrity, right? I mean, at any point of time in the history of the world, that still applies,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Regardless how generational change happens, integrity is the first nilai murni that remains important.
Right. Thank you very much. Excellent. Very well said. Very well said. Well, talking about the past, many people say the only thing which is a constant is change. Change is the only constant you can expect to see in this world. And changes is happening around us faster than we can say, Jack Robinson or anything. My question to you, gentlemen, is this, and anyone can start to answer this question, yeah? Anyone. How are you preparing UMW to go forward, to embrace this new world of change? Anybody who wants to take the
Okay.
Dato, mula. Ya,
Boleh.
silakan.
Saya cuba. There are new skill set that's required now. Kalau kita tengok, even the government is promoting now upskilling, reskilling. Sebab keperluan tu berubah. Masa ke semasa. Hari ni kita nak this type of skill. Nanti future kita ada different skill. Digitalization, automation dan sebagainya. Jadi craftsmanship mungkin dulu pas punya skill. Jadi kita nak kena berubah. Jadi I think very important for organisation to be adaptive. Dia boleh berubah. Ya, dan boleh menyesuaikan diri dengan keadaan semasa. Dia tak boleh jadi terlampau rigid. Kalau tidak, dia macam dinosaur. Dia tak boleh makan daun tu, jadi tak boleh hidup. Jadi kita, as you can see, macam UMW ni, kita start daripada repair bicycle 103 years ago. Dan lepas tu buat kereta, dan sekarang kita buat kapal terbang. Engine kapal terbang kita buat. Jadi we have evolved over time to acquire different skills. Sebab kita ada that flexibility. Kita tak repair bicycle sampai sekarang, tak ada. Tapi kita upgrade ourselves dan be flexible enough to explore new knowledge, new capabilities yang sesuai dengan masa for us to move and be relevant to the time.
Yes, yeah.
That is very important to be.
My question for Mr. Ravi regarding change. It is being said that you cannot teach an old dog new tricks, right? Now, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but UMW has been around for a very long time, and its strength is its tradition, values, and sebagainya. And as one CEO once said to me, our tradition is something that takes us forward, holds us together, but it's also the same tradition which is holding us back from embracing new things, new ways of doing something. Encik Ravi, boleh komen sedikit tak? Is there a stress between the tradition and the new way of doing something?
First, I want to say that the old staff or they are actually asset, okay? You can't teach them, but they have a lot of value. This value you have to harvest from them.
Excellent.
Okay? When you harvest, you also must know how to transfer this to younger generation. Without them, there's no journey. Sometimes we ignore them. When they reach certain age, we think it's no hope. But we have to look back what they have done, what are the success story. You really did. And this is the thing that we put the seed and we harvest. But what is important for the younger generation, you consistent tell them, you must be independent in your thinking. Don't put them in a cage and say, this is how the company should be. Transformation is a free, that you can think. If you have an idea, that is an idea, that's not one man's idea. This is where you put the team together, and I think UMW have done very well, where we, in the past 3-4 years, we bring the young generation and say, this is what we want to do. We put the culture, and they build it. And some of the ideas that came out is excellent. And we are actually embarking on that. And the journey has just started. And I think it's going to be fantastic if you look at 2-3 years from now, UMW itself moving into forward. But always respect whatever, whoever it is, and also respect the younger generation. This is the culture that I think UMW have built very strongly, and we have all adapted to it. That's my comment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ravi. Megat?
To add,
Yes.
to me it's a game of dexterity, left hand and right hand.
Okay. Balancing act.
The balancing act, right? To find that balance is hard. Once you find that balance, right, the organization is going to change along with it. Currently, because of the pandemic that's going on,
Right.
kan? Kita semua tahu norma baru, kan? Semua orang kena buat cara yang different.
Yeah.
Whether it's personally, at work, semua kan. Jadinya, for example, people talk about in business cutting costs now, right? But I think that could be taking it a bit too further, right? Why don't we think about optimizing costs instead?
I see.
Right? Because you got to build the future for growth, right? If you are too ingrained into quick wins, right? You might forget about the midterm and the long term. So that balance, dexterity, very important. Finding it.
Okay. The last time I checked, I think UMW now is sedang beroperasi dengan begitu canggih dan begitu kukuh di lebih kurang 6 ataupun 7 buah negara. Ya, termasuk negara Indonesia, Myanmar, Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, of all places. I'm very amazed. Can you explain a little bit, maybe for Encik Ravi to elaborate a little bit, the relationship you have with your partners di sana? What are the challenges that you face, and bagaimana UMW boleh mengatasi cabaran-cabaran yang ada? I mean, you're operating in 6 different countries with 6 different ways of doing things, yeah? Ways of working, different wows. Yeah? So how does this wow come into contact with them, and how do you manage that, Mr. Ravi?
First, cabaran, yes, that is something that we have to work. But I think working with various countries, like Toyota under UMW Group, we work with Japanese partners. I think we adapt and we learn many things from them. And they also learn our culture. So when you put 2 cultures together, you actually improving your knowledge and you learn many things. It transforms yourself, not only us from them. But I think the directions from our partners with various countries, it's very clear, okay? And It changes to become an international company. We are not anymore a Malaysian company. Okay? And it's also changing in the past 10 years that it's not only Japan. We are closely working with Thai, we are working with Philippines, India, Myanmar, in fact. Many, many countries we are working now. So every time you talk to some people, you're actually adapting and changing. And this gives a better vision for us to move forward. But I think it's a very good platform for all of us. And of course, UMW Corporation, especially Dato Rashid, he's here. He's working with many other countries also, especially like England. He can say some word.
Dato, silakan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I continue daripada apa Ravi sebut tadi. Kita punya partners ni pelbagai. So for M&E ni kita ada satu company nama UMW Aerospace. Kita tier 1 untuk Rolls-Royce engine, bukan Rolls-Royce kita tu Rolls-Royce engine. Ya. Jadi kita macam mana kita nak bekerja, time is also a challenge lah. Kalau pasal time zone ni lain kan. While we are sleeping dia tak start working kan. So there's 7 hours punya time gap dan sebagainya. Jadi kita kalau nak buat meeting dengan dia tu kena start petang lah. So 3 o'clock here, maybe 7 or 8 o'clock over there in the UK. Then they have different culture. Cuma kita kat Malaysia ni kalau dengan UK ni mungkin senang sikit. Most of us actually kita from colonial years lagi.
Yes.
Dengan British kan. Jadi tak ada masalah. So M&E juga kita ada kilang kita di China. Example Indonesia sama lah, lebih kurang sama dengan kita. British lain, Jepun pula dia ada different culture dia. But now we are operating in a borderless world. Ya, dah tak ada sempadan. Dan kita juga kita nampak dia nampak kita pun sama tinggi je. Not like before kan. The landscape has changed a lot. So kita punya competition pun sama. Kita bukan setakat bersaing di Malaysia saja. Kita as a leader kita juga kena bersedia untuk bersaing di peringkat antarabangsa. That's where I think UMW has moved progressively in becoming a global competitive company, not only competent to supply parts for Malaysian market, but also macam aerospace kita 100% export. Contoh adalah. So it's very important for us to have that vision as well.
Thank you. Masa saya mengendalikan satu workshop with one GLC before COVID lockdown berlaku, satu employee dijemput masuk untuk memberi kata dua kepada sesi workshop kita, dan dia diperkenalkan sebagai seorang pekerja telah bekerja selama 32 tahun dalam syarikat tu. Then the whole room stood up, tepukannya gemuruh, the respect that they give this person. Hari berikutnya, orang yang sama dijemput memberi kata dua pada kumpulan yang lain, Encik Megat. And these are group of people yang kita kata Gen Millennial, 28, 29-year-old that we were talking about tadi. And orang yang sama, gentleman tu diperkenalkan, working for 32, 33 years in a company. Not even one person clap. As a matter of fact, the whole group pandang pada orang ni macam, pelik, kenapa boleh kerja sampai 30 tahun lebih. And I know some of you guys are working with the company here for a very long time. I salute you and I respect you. Can you share with me what is the right thing that UMW Group is doing yang boleh memberi satu set of cabaran to make people like you, leaders of your caliber, to decide to remain with this group for as long as you have? Apa yang ada?
I think really good question. Sekarang ni kebetulan UMW is embarking on launching a new culture. Right? Not like we don't have any, but we are changing with times. Kan? Kita berubah ikut peredaran masa. Jadinya we are calling this transformation. WOW stands for ways of working. There are three pillars in there. Deliver promises. We deliver promises. We are one. Teamwork. And we change. It's all about change. The POC ada 3. So jadinya, what's happening is we've got a lot of exciting enablement, cultural enablement, to especially bridge the new generation. For example, right? One of the key culture enablement yang kita buat ni, you masuk meeting, among the first thing you kena buat is Kalau you have a question, nowadays kalau old gents ni dia tanya lepas meeting lah. Tak tahu tanya. One of the key initiative. Tak tahu tanya. So they'll just raise their hands and tanya. And just be candid about it.
No such thing as soalan bodoh lah.
Tak ada. No right or wrong. Powerful culture.
Right.
But the key is now execution. Kita kena make sure this gets permeated everywhere in the organization. So, interesting.
Looks like you want to add something to that.
So I think
Ravi,
interesting sambung yang Encik Megat sebut tadi.
Yeah.
Kita ada wow
factor.
culture baru ni.
I like that, the wow
we
factor.
We are one, kita satu.
Yep.
And then we drive change. And we deliver results. Sebab kita ada orang pemegang kita, our duty and responsibility dekat UMW ni, kita generate profit, dividend, kita bagi ke PNB untuk diagihkan kepada pemegang saham. So that's our responsibility, tanggungjawab. So we have to deliver results. So kita kena bring the whole organisation to understand this responsibility of the company. Jadi as each members to faham, then I think dia ada rasa tanggungjawab untuk deliver the best for the company, for the community and so on.
I nak tanya Mr. Ravi, on a scale of 1 to 10, sir, talking about we are one, where are we in terms of unity? 10 is excellent unification already. 1 is the opposite of that. Overall, in UMW, where do you think you are, sir? The group.
I don't want to say we are 10 over 10. I will say, I think we are already in 8.
Excellent.
Okay? That's where we are, and we still have some things that we need to
Of course.
do. Okay? But I want to add a bit here, what you asked. The biggest thing that we need to do as a leader, I want to go back to the question, is as a leader, in a group of young generation, you want to make this wow factor or exciting or what? You have to go to the board and start writing what you started when you were in executive position. This is where they will appreciate. It's not sitting there and giving instruction. If you want to say that, you write and teach and tell them you're part of them. This is where the young generation going to look at your leadership, and they will take this challenge for their next generation. Okay? So that is why I said many of us, I have seen even Dato Rashid, he's very excited to go onto the board and write. These are what I feel that the people, they are going to watch us. And this is where is the wow factor. Okay? And I've seen Megat have done that. Okay? And that, I think that's UMW culture itself. Okay? Started. And you asked me earlier how we lasted 30 years and all that. Because of the culture of UMW. So we lasted. Okay? Because when we are young, we always like to jump to another place, maybe salary difference and all that. But we stay put because we believed in that company. And I think it's a fantastic company.
Excellent, excellent explanation. I cannot not ask this question because it's impacting everyone. How is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting UMW? Does it impact your business outcomes and the wow element just now? How do you work now that pandemic is already around? Who wants to take the baton first? Megat looks like he's ready.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room.
Sure.
We are affected, yeah? But let's look at this positively.
Yeah.
Unless you're making gloves, for example, where your business is booming now, everyone else is affected somehow, some way. So we are doing a lot of things, right, to make sure that we are containing it and then sustaining it and then growing accordingly. For example, right, we've just implemented a process improvement called RPA, robotic process automation. Process yang normally takes 3 days, right? For someone, one person takes 3 days. After that improvement, only takes 5 minutes. Can you imagine? More than 300% improvement in terms of man hours. Right? Imagine if we do this across the group, right? Remember I talked about optimization of cost just now? That's one of them, right? So that's on process. And we're looking at all facets of the organization, culture, people, strategy, tactics, right? Technology, right? So we are doing all we can now make sure we survive and get better soon, inshallah.
Thank you. Excellent. I was told that we are down to about 3.5 minutes now. So it's my turn to say a few things about leadership, I suppose. Unless you guys have something to jump in, just go ahead. Just want to say this, that there was a study done by a group called InnoSight, a business consulting company founded by an award-winning, a Nobel Prize-winning economist based in Harvard, I think. It's called InnoSight. He said, the next 10 years are shaping up to be the most potentially turbulent in modern history. And mind you, he said this before the COVID pandemic hit the world. So with the COVID, just dial up the urgency of this statement a couple of notches, and we are even nowhere near what we are facing right now. And another leader said to me one time, Sabri, I am not the center of my people's attention, but they are the center of mine. And that alone has made all the difference for me. And I thought that was a very brilliant thing for him to say, because I think at the end of the day, leadership is not about, new things are good, but at the end of the day, leadership is leadership. The Prophet Muhammad says it's not about religion, but the Prophet says this, even on a journey of 3 people, make one of you the leader. So leadership is something which is mandated upon every one of us, doesn't matter what religion we believe in. And I think that what is leadership at the end of the day? Leadership is about creating a future which is better than today. So whomever that future is for, and I just want to add as a person who teaches and talks about leadership, you don't have to find the cure for vaccine for COVID-19 to be called a certified leader. You don't have to find the cure for cancer to be called a certified leader. You don't have to free Malaysia from the colonial powers. That's been done already. For as long as you get up every Monday morning, no matter how cold the rainy season is going to be, you get up and go to work and do a fantastic 9-to-5 work, and more than that, I know that, and come back and be a good family person at the end of a very, very long day. My God, you are already a fantastic leader in my book. And I salute you guys. Continue doing that. And the wow factor is a fantastic wow factor. Keep on wowing us in Malaysia and the rest of the world. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.